Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us again on another episode of Leading on Mondays. My name is Florin Lungu, and I'm so delighted to be with you today. And today, I'm joined by my teaching partner, Madalina Ghinesch. Welcome, Madalina.
Hey Florin, hello everyone. Like always, it's a pleasure to be here with you to talk about our next episode on the self leadership series related to vision. And vision is a leader's roadmap. And I would like to ask you, Florin, in your perspective, what is your definition of a vision?
Well, vision should be a picture that excited us. A picture about a future that excites us as leaders, and also it's enough exciting for us that we can pass it on to other people. Because if you're not
Mm-hmm.
excited about a future as a leader, then how can you lead your team where you need to go? So for me, it's if you have a clear vision of where you want to go as individual first, right, that will help you set your priorities right. That will help you know
Mm-hmm.
where to focus your time and resources. That will give direction to your team, and will, instead of us kind of being caught up into the day-to-day activities and losing sight of the vision and the why we're doing what we're doing. If you have a clear vision and you pass it on, first of all, you connect with that vision on a regular basis. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
for me and my wife, we used to have every quarter to go, off site for a weekend and spend that weekend in talking about, what do we want to create in our lives. That was like we're painting the vision for our lives, and that was every quarter, because vision is not something that you create once and then you get excited about it and you put it somewhere and people
Forget
forget
about it.
about it, right? So vision is something, it's a picture of the future that excites you, and it excites you, to that level that you can also pass it on to others. And when you cast vision for your team, then that's actually, they feel it. They feel that
Mm-hmm.
you're excited about that, because if you're not excited, then how can they be excited?
Mm-hmm. I like and I think I will consider to use the example for the vision for your family, for you and your wife. I didn't do that. I'm not doing that at the moment. I just have a big picture in my head. I know where I want to go, especially what we discussed last time on personal growth. So have a big picture in your head and be excited about that. In my perspective, vision is a leader with a vision is a person who is on top of the mountain and see exactly what's around that area, to see the big picture, to see the whole panoramic view, then go downhill to the people and share with them the picture in such a way that inspires them to want to be with you on top of the mountain.
Mm.
So you be on top, then go downhill and inspire the people to want to be with you on top of the mountain again. And this is my vision. Of course, you need to you need to have this image a lot of times in your in your mind. Usually, people have a vision board. They put where they put what they want to achieve, what they want to follow, what they want to pursue, so they don't forget about that. And as usual, as normal, you need to check if you did any progress and what do you need to change in order for you to get to that vision.
Absolutely.
And related to the to people who have already who are already in a leadership position, what should they do in case they don't have a vision yet?
Yeah, so when we actually take leaders through our purpose, vision, goal process, what we actually start with is, first of all, we start with some big rocks. And the question that many times is very difficult to answer is why you do what you do. That's a really big question. And many people,
Mhm.
well, do things they do because of circumstances, because they end up in doing that. For example, for me, I shared in other episodes that my dad has chosen for me a career path. They chose what what high school should I go to. After that, it was natural for me to find to follow the engineering school, which led me to work in the automotive industry, which was a natural progression. But if you would ask me, like, why are you in the automotive industry, I didn't know to answer that, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it was a series of decisions that led me there. And so many of the leaders that we take through this program, they're actually in a midlife crisis. I know it's strange to hear that, but they are in their 50s, and now they say, well, after this pandemic, things have changed completely. Like, skills that I had, they are now maybe irrelevant, or maybe I need to
Mm-hmm.
learn new things. And they ask themselves, why should I spend the rest of my career in commuting to a workplace? So they're kind of in the place where they try to redefine a vision for the rest of their life. This was the first path, the first half of my life. Now I want to plan to be more intentional about the second part. So we start
Mm-hmm.
with trying to understand why they do what they do, and that's trying to get some clarity on their purpose. And in order to get some clarity on their purpose, actually we look at some questions. Like we ask them, what pisses you off? Like when you see something, what is the injustice that you see in the world that pisses you off as individual, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a
What are
powerful
some
question.
Exactly. What are some things that break your heart? Like when you see someone suffering, right? What kind of situations break your heart? And then how can you combine those two and find a problem to solve? So the next question will be, what is the big problem you're trying to solve? Right? So in order
Yeah,
for us to have
something.
a direction for our
Yeah.
life and then a direction for our organization, these are still, when it comes to what is the injustice you see in the world, what pisses you off, what breaks your heart. These are value questions, right? This is where you
Mm-hmm.
get clear on the values that you just you share with us in the last episode, right? That when you create your personal growth journey, it has to be aligned with your values, right? So we go and visit the values, and then we look at, if you want to, for example, I can give an example from my life.
Yeah.
If I want to become the best teacher and communicator of the principles of human potential and leadership, then how can I live my purpose? So in order for us to create a vision, we look at, if this is what I want to do, this is my purpose, then how can I live my purpose? Well, doing these shows, I live my purpose. Spending time with people and coaching them, I live my purpose. Maybe going on just doing a seminar, a launch seminar, I live my purpose. So when we kind of know the direction of our life, then we can build a picture of how it would be for us to do exactly that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
is that is when the leader gets clarity on the picture and the vision of their life. And from that vision, then we identify some goals. So for example, if the goal for
Mm-hmm.
me would be to build a team around me, a team of coaches around, become version principles, for example, then one of the goals would be to kind of identify some potential individuals. So
Yes.
out of the vision, we start to identify goals, and those are the goals that we set for some of them are short-term goals, others are longer-term goals. But out of the vision comes the goals, right? So that's a process we'd actually take leaders through, which are in a place where say, well, now I don't really know where I want to go. I had a career up until now. I don't see myself doing that for the rest of my life. And now let's get some clarity upon what it is your vision as individual. And this could be translated also to organizations, right? The same, it's
Yep.
applicable, right? As an organization, what are your values, right? What do you care about? What pisses you off? And then what's the big problem you want to solve as organization? And then if we want to solve this problem, like for example, just remove hunger from the world, like what would be some ways that us as an organization could do that? Well, then we probably need to be a non-profit organization and to work with organization around the world. So then how could we do that? Well, one way would be to maybe collect money or food, from where we are. Another way would be to maybe collect funds or run events to collect funds. Another one would be maybe send people in countries that need our help. So those are ways for us to live our purpose. And then out of those, then you find some goals. Say, oh, okay, so if our goal is to raise some money, okay, let's see what kind of event could we do, what can we value we can add to people that come to the event, why should they contribute to this cause, who can we connect with, and those are goals. So this is a process that can be applied to us as individuals, but also our organizations.
Related to this, I will add another thing that, besides of what you said, how to find out your vision, also ask yourself the question, what do I really need that is not there yet in this world, or is not yet created, or is not yet here? Because also, for some people, the vision is like Steve Jobs. Smartphones weren't a thing before that, or from Henry Ford with the cars. The cars were not there before he had a vision with this. Related to I don't know. You can imagine the airplane or the racket, yeah, everything that was not there yet. And what would you like to have, or what would you need, in a very specific way? So that can be an additional question for you to ask to actually find your vision. And based on that, create a plan. Instead, create a plan, align everything to that purpose and that vision, and then find a way to inspire others to follow you. Because there is one saying: if you're alone on top, then you're not a leader. And you need other people to be with you along the way. So when you are on top of the mountain, you are together and you're not just on your own. Because let's face it, success, it's well shared when you have other people around you, when it's your maybe your family, your friends, your loved ones, even your company, your team, your mentors, whoever you may think of. For the aspiring leaders, so when we think about the vision, we have four categories of people usually.
Okay.
When people who never see the vision, they are called wonders. For people who see the vision but never pursue it on their own, are called followers. For people who see it and pursue it, they are called achievers. And guess who is the fourth category? The people who see the vision, pursue it, and help other people to pursue it, then they are the leaders. They are called leaders. So this is what you need to remember when you are an aspiring leader. You don't have yet a leadership position. Think about this. You need to have like a mini project. If you don't have somewhere to practice the leadership skills and to practice the vision, try to find a mini project that you can start with your colleagues, and help them to be on top of the mountain with you, and help them to get inspired by this idea to achieve this project together. And then make sure that you find out about them. What are their goals? What are their values? How can you align the purpose of the project with their own purposes in their lives? So when they work together to achieve this project, they think about, I'm not just doing the project, I'm doing the project while I'm doing stuff for myself. While I know that we have I know one question, if you can allow me a few seconds on this example. I was talking to a colleague of mine, and while we were on the leadership game questions, the small cards, the powerful questions on the leadership cards, there was a question asking them, what motivates you to be in this job,
Mm-hmm.
or to have this job, this particular job? And her answer was, I really enjoyed sometime when at some point when we together as a team created the software, created an application, and we didn't just created the application. The leaders who used the application and then gave the application to the public actually said to them, look, this is your application, this is what you did as an application, and this is how it was used with the public, and these are the results. How did your application impact the real world? And
Mhm.
she said that at that moment, for her, I have goosebumps just talking about that. She said at that moment, she was feeling fulfilled. She felt that like she has a contribution into this world, not just writing a code for an application, which is lifeless, but actually contributing to the real world, helping real people with some issues. So when you start doing that, remember that you have your own goals, you have your own motivations. People have their own goals and motivations and values. Try to align that so together. So when you have a project to work together on, they don't feel like working on a project or working just for a company, which is at the core lifeless. Just switch it, swift it to something that they work on, they that can be a part of who they are. If they want to help mothers, then put them in such a position that they actually help mothers. If they want to help children, put in that position to create a small project to help children, and so on and so forth, or finding something that they really care about. So, in your situation, Florin, do you have an example where, let's say, this is a question that came to my mind at the moment, when people have some trouble with finding their vision, even though they know about this and how to create the vision, they answer the questions, they still don't see the vision.
Yeah, that well, the challenge is that we allow ourselves to be influenced by other people's opinions and what we
Mm,
believe
mhm,
success looks
mhm.
like. So for someone that has trouble seeing the vision, or they don't really see their place in the world, or they don't see why this is important, because I
Yeah,
think the
yeah,
biggest challenge is you as a leader, like now from the leader's perspective, you as a leader, you have to on a continual basis talk about the vision, because you cannot just expect that you share the vision once and that's done and
yeah,
it's clear
yeah,
for
yeah,
everyone, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
so the challenge is that your team will disconnect from the vision, because if you are there, if we use your metaphor, if you are there at the top of the mountain and you see the whole valley and the whole landscape in front of you, but people are down below, they're not going to see it. So you
yeah,
have to go up and look again at the vision, come down to your team and share with them, and then go up and see has anything changed, like is the clouds moving south or north, and the wind, and then
mm-hmm,
back and change and share it again with your team. And the challenge is that as team members, sometimes we don't see why the organization goes in this direction or the other direction, or we don't understand, what's the vision behind this little app that we're creating. And if
mm-hmm,
a leader is able to connect the dots between the work that those people were doing, right, and that person was doing, and the impact that that work made in the world, that's when magic happens. That's when people see themselves in the vision. Now, that's one of the most important aspects of casting vision. When you think about casting vision, usually what happens is that the leaders come and say, hey, this is where we're going. This is the vision. This is the goal. This is what we want to build. And they expect everyone to be excited about that. And many are. But then what follows after that is that each leader in that organization should take their team and say, hey, this is where this is your spot, this is your place in the vision. So it's not enough to paint a picture of the vision, but also we need to help people see themselves in the vision. In other
yes,
words,
their
if
contribution, yeah,
exactly, and also their benefits, like at the end of the day, you said each of us have different reasons for being in a job, right? So if you're
Yeah.
not able to connect why you working and helping the organization achieve the goal that is part of this vision, how is that going to help you achieve your goals? Then you're going to say, well, who cares? I don't really care that much, right? It's just about some, stakeholders that are going to get a higher compensation for their shares. That's not exciting me. But when you see, oh, so if you do this little app with this piece of code, that will make an impact in the world because it will help these people here, and it will make their life easier. And that's when you can connect the social impact and the social
Mm-hmm.
responsibility that the organization takes with
Yeah.
with us doing here, doing this project does good for the community because people care about the community and people care about different causes. That's
Yes.
why, as an organization, you could support different causes, like you support different organizations, like nonprofit organizations, and by doing that, you kind of connect. Us reaching the goal allows us to tied part of the profit we're making to this nonprofit organization, and we contribute to that every year. But if we're reaching the goal, then also these children that you care about, they'll benefit. So that's
Mm-hmm.
connecting,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
dot that you were talking about. um, I think that's for me, when maybe someone is on a team and they don't see the vision, is because the leader has not made sure that, first of all, the vision is clear for them, has not shared the vision often enough, and has not helped the person to see themselves in the vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with you. And at some point, I heard the question that actually widened my perspective upon things. The question was, do you know what would happen if the garbage collector wouldn't do their jobs or wouldn't exist at all? Can you imagine what would happen? And we take people for granted. They say, yeah, 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 there are the garbage collectors, there are the people on the trains, driving the trains, the planes, the cars, everything. There are the people who are with the electricity. Yes, so um, in the plant, there are people working on that, but we take them for granted. And we might also take for granted people in our team. We
Hmm.
say, oh, yeah, 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 he's doing the job, she's doing the job, everything is okay. But when you realize that if she's not, or they are not doing their jobs, the whole project will go down.
Yeah.
Then you understand the actual contribution of everybody. So you as a leader also remember that every person in your team is an important tool, as I can say, because it's a part of the whole mechanism. If one part goes wrong or breaks, then the whole mechanism will be down. So also remember this. Well, not think about people as machines, but as a metaphor that if you lose one part of the whole system, then the whole system will break. So remember this, and next time you look at people in your team, just look at their real contribution. Maybe there are some people in your team that you don't like as much as other people, but try to find out what is their big contribution in your life. Maybe there's, let's say, a person who is very methodic, wants to get all the details, but he's very good at telling jokes, and he makes your day he you start your day in a very fun, relaxing way, just because you interact with that kind of person. Yes, and even she's meticulous and you don't like to get into that many details, the person is really making your day as some joyful moment of the week. So remember this when you're thinking about the people in your team. Having a vision is not having a vision or creating a vision may be hard at the beginning, but if you, like any other skill, if you practice and practice and practice, starting with small things, create a vision with your own family. If you want them to travel to a specific place, try to create an opportunity out of that to cast a vision. Okay, how would you influence your family to go to that place because they want to, not because you are driving, right?
Yeah,
And you don't stop.
exactly.
So start small with small steps, small projects, and the way you with each step you're doing, and which with each improvement that you're doing, you will become a better and better at having a vision and casting that vision with with your members. And as Florin said, remember to express the vision often. Don't just say it at the beginning when people get into the project, and then after 2 years people will forget all about the vision. They don't even remember what the vision was about.
And I think you're making such a good point, because this is one of the biggest challenges. Like in my experience, I led projects and teams for more than 12 years in the automotive industry. And one of the biggest challenges we always had was that people lose sight of the goal. Like when we were like in our day-to-day jobs, and we were doing like each
Yeah, the
part of the
routine.
project, were working on their side, and then we forgot a client, we forgot about the customer. And I was the one that I needed to do that for my team. I needed to say, oh, okay, so wait a minute. So if I'm the customer and I'm driving this car, what would I feel? Well, you would not feel this if it works properly. Okay, so then I don't want to feel it if it works properly. So show
Uh-huh.
me how that would feel, right? And they'll say, well, when you
Mhm.
do this, it will happen that. Okay, let's get in the car. So when you get in the car, okay, so let's say, and I drive, and I feel something. I say, well, I said, what was that? Well, this is something. Well, if I put my wife to drive the car, then she will get scared if she feels something like that.
Yeah.
She will think something is wrong with the car. So I know you as an engineer, you know why that happened, but I don't want that to happen, right? So we needed to reconnect kind of what we're doing to the end goal, which was to have a good product and a good experience for the customer. And that was one of the biggest challenges we always have. And that was where I kind of focused my energy, because it was to reconnect, to realign everyone, that we're not just doing this because each of us have our little goals to do this way, but when we put our work together, does it create a product that we want, or does it not? And if not, then let's go back in the car, because it's not the software that you're creating the software, but we're not selling the software, we're selling a car. And people will
The
not know
final
who
product.
created
Yeah.
people will not know who created the software in the computer that controls the engine, and they don't
And that
even
they are
care.
very good at what they do. They don't know that. They just need to have the perfect version of a car, right?
Exactly. So that's actually how that helped us. But I think there's also an example that it came to mind of a client that I work with, and in his case, actually, the challenge is that um, he used to make decisions on the basis of why not. So when someone came with an idea in the business, okay, why don't we do this? And because um, there was not a clear vision for the organization, there was not a clear vision that he could connect and or compare that idea with. He tend to make decision on the basis of why not? It's a good idea. Okay, why not? But he
Mm-hmm.
didn't connect that idea with a big vision, right? He didn't connect that with the big purpose. And the question that we should ask ourselves is, if I act on this idea, and I bring these ideas forward, and I build it to the level where I could, the biggest vision that I have for this idea, would this idea move us in the direction of our goals? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if we are not able to connect how us acting on this idea will help us, live our vision, reach our goals, then it's probably a good idea. But it doesn't mean that we should be acting on it right now. So what happens is that there was the resources and the prioritization in the organization didn't happen the way it should, because there was a lack of clarity on the vision of the organization. And when an idea came forward, it was not compared and connected with the vision. And the
Mm-hmm.
question we should ask, okay, so how is this relevant for us, and how is this relevant for our vision? How is this going to help us, reach our goal? right? If we look back at what we said we want to do this year, how is this idea going to help us achieve that better, faster, cheaper, less
Mhm,
expensive?
mhm, 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 mhm,
And if it's
mhm,
not, then it's just a good idea. So
mhm.
this is an example where not having a very clear vision and not checking the vision often, led to maybe not an optimal situation where the resources were not spent the way they should and things were not prioritized the way they should.
Wow, thanks for sharing the examples, Florin. It actually helps me finding out this kind of strategy. What should you do in case you don't have a vision or the company doesn't have a vision, and you need to actually to discuss about the vision. Um,
Absolutely.
we are at the end of our episode. What is the next? What is the next topic? As far as you remember, problem solving. I
Yeah,
think.
that's absolutely right. Yeah, so we're still in the self leadership series, and we're gonna discuss about problem solving and how that helps you as a leader to gain influence, and also we're gonna talk about some tips and tricks around problem solving.
I cannot wait for next
Absolutely.
time.
All right.
Thank you, Florin.
Thank you, Madalina, and for everyone watching, thank you so much for tuning in today, and we look forward to see you on the next episode. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.